Hello and welcome to Hillyfield Academy Maths in Key Stage 2 video. So the aims of this session are to discuss the importance of learning the times tables up to 12 times 12, to share the maths flow model which is used to teach maths at Hillyfield, and to demonstrate the formal written methods that your child is taught for the 4 operations, and that is addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, to look at some maths questions and strategies, and to see how you could support your child at home with some learning resources and websites. So why are they so important? It's important to learn the times tables and the related division facts, because this is the first step to many more complicated areas in mathematics. For example, in order to find fractions and percentages of numbers, to find the area of a shape, or to calculate the mean of a set of data, multiplication and sometimes division is involved, and in lots of the word problems as well. So it's really crucial. Often when pupils are taught a new formula, their confidence in the times tables and related facts will allow them to calculate efficiently and accurately. It can be fun to learn these. They're often taught with songs and chants, and this is a really great way to get kids engaged with it. However, it's not enough just to know from a song, because when children come to answering questions, they will not have time to work through all of the times tables on their fingers or to sing through the song to find the correct one. So they would need to know them much more fluently than that. It can be a good idea to look for patterns in the times tables. For example, in the 9 times tables, the answers all add to 9. So 2 times 9 equals 18. And the digits here, if you add 1 and 8, it makes 9. And it's the same for all of the others. It could be a good way to practice on the way home from school, or walking to the shops, or anywhere that you can fit it into your day, just practicing those. The children also have a test called the 144, where they are tested on a random selection of times tables. So it's a good idea to randomize that and practice whenever you can. So having a good idea of which times tables are commonly known and which ones might be more tricky is a good idea. So you could check with your child if there are any that they particularly struggle on, have them written down somewhere, play games and quizzes, find songs and dances that your child enjoys. There are lots of these available online. And also ask them about times table rock stars, because every child in Hillyfield plays this, and it's a really competitive way to get involved in it. Across the school, previously we've had active math sessions planned by the PE team and taught by staff across the different year groups. So these involved quick recall and movement, and encourage a healthy, active participation to engage the pupils in maths. You could speak to your PE team or your child's class teacher if you would like more information about how to do these sessions at home. So how is maths taught at Hillyfield? There are different stages to the learning, and the first stage is called show, and this is where children are given resources or pictures to show their understanding of the question. So here you can see some ones, tens, hundreds and thousands, and this can be used in all kinds of different questions. There are lots of different resources used at school for different topics, and they're used for the children to show their concrete understanding of it. Then they would move on to fluency, and this is more the direct arithmetic style questions. Then reasoning, where they explain their answer using mathematical terminology, and some problem solving questions. This is applying their knowledge to lots of different contexts. So within the lesson, they are provided with models and with strategies that they could use to help them, and they would receive feedback before they move on to next activity. So this allows the teacher to identify any difficulties and address these as they come up. We're now to have a look at some of the formal written methods. Here we can see addition, and it shows we add from the ones. So this is adding the ones, this is adding the tens and the hundreds, and then finally adding them all up at the end. So eventually children would be doing a more compact method with this, where they are adding the ones and exchanging when they need to. So here we can see 7 plus 6 is 13, and we put the 3 in the ones column, but we're exchanging 10 of those ones for 110, and the 110 carries here, and then we have 9 plus 1, and we add on that 1 from before in the tens, and that puts a 1 here and exchanges another 1. So it continues like this. And similarly with decimals, they line them up. So let's take a look at some examples of this.
Now I'm going to line it up, 9 and the 8. Then the 4, 48 and 6, 3. And then you're going to do 9 plus 8 is 17, so we write the 1, 7. 6 plus 4 is 10, add the 1 is 11, so then you cross it out, and then 1 plus 3 is 4.
And here is an example with decimals and a different number of digits.
And then 6. And then you can put a placeholder here. 0 plus 7 is 7. 3 plus 2 is 5, 0 plus 1 is 1, and then you do 8 plus 6 is 14, and that exchanges, so you put the 4 here and then the 1 here. And then 4 plus 0 is 4, so you add 1, and that would be 5.
Okay, and then we have subtraction. Similarly, they'd be using this column method where we're lining up the ones and all of the other digits. When they are subtracting, they would need to exchange from the larger digit to carry that over here. So for example, when they got to 5, take away 6, they can see they need to exchange one of these. So one of these hundreds would be exchanged for a 10 of these tens, and that would become 15. So it's in this tens column, but they would do 15, take away 6. As they've exchanged one from here, they need to cross out the 7 and put 6 because they've taken 1 to the other column. Similarly with decimals, and when they get into year 6 or the upper key stage 2, they would be using subtraction in the context of money, measurement, and different kind of word problems.
So first I'm going to line it up, the 2 and the 9. And here, so we're going to do minus 2 minus 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. 8 minus 3. We can do that, but we need to borrow from next door. So we're going to do 5 there. 10 plus 3 is 13. So 8 minus 13. No, 13 minus 8 is 5. And then 5 minus 5 is 0, and then 3 minus 1 is 2.
Spends £5.08p at the shop. She uses £10 to pay. How much change will she get? So first, you want to do, since you know she uses £10, you do £10 with placeholders, and then it's £5.08p, so you do 8, 0, and then 5, and it's subtraction, because that's how much you will get. So first you could do it this way, like this, and exchange it to take away, or you could make it £9.99, so it's easier to take away, like this, and then just add one more p because you took one away. So plus 1 equals £4.92.
So we can see this child is using different methods to think how to be efficient. They know that they'd have to exchange across each one of these digits, so they can use different technique there. And they're applying their knowledge to see, what is this word question asking me? They know that it's asking for subtraction.
£5.80
So moving on to multiplication. Children use their multiplication knowledge. They could break this into a grid method, which is where they do the 10 and the 4. So they're partitioning it there and timesing them both by 6, adding them together. And the formal written method is where we times everything by the 1 in the ones column here. And if there is something in the tens or more, then we know that this does not represent 1, it represents 10. So we're using a 0 as a placeholder here to do everything times 10. So we put a placeholder there, which means we times everything by 10 and we're timesing each of the digits by 1. Similarly with decimals, they could keep the decimal point in the same place, or as you'll see, they could put it there when they're doing the answer.
So first we're going to put them in order, but you can do it in any way you like. So I'm going to put the 135 at the top and 5 here. So the times 5 times 5 is 25, so 5, and you put a 2 there. 5 times 3 is 15, so you put the 1 there. And 5 plus 2 is 7. Then we cross that out. 5 times 1 is 6. 5 plus the 1 is 6. So the answer is 675.
As we start with the most digits, we are going to put the 4.12 above 7. And then I like to put a decimal point here just so I can keep track of it. 7 times 2 is 14, and then you carry the 1 over. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. And then 7 times 4, and as they are both in the same units, then you do 7 times 4, which is 28.
So the child was saying here 7 times 2, but because they had the decimal point, they knew that this was 2 in the hundredths column. And when they got to the 4, that was 4 times 7, and it was before the decimal point, so it's 28.
As we start.
Okay, and in division, if children are still not secure in their times tables, they may use a method like the number line, where they are chunking and grouping that into 3s, for example. But formally, they should be using a written method, which we call the bus stop method, and then either chunking it or seeing how many times does 4 go into 8, goes in twice, how many times does 4 go into 7, it goes once, but there are 3 remaining, so we exchange those there, becomes 4 into 32. Children can use a remainder if there's some things left over. This can be written as a fraction in year 6 or as a decimal. So when it's a decimal, they put a placeholder of 0 there after the decimal point, and they exchange over the 1. So that would become 10. 8 into 10 goes 1 with 2 remaining, and they continue until they find the answer. Long division just means writing it down and subtracting as you go rather than doing it in your head.
First I'm going to use the bus stop method, and so here we're going to do a 6, and there's going to be 2,286. No, 6, 22, no, 2 divided by 6 you can't do, so you do 20, so you write a 0, and then you do 22 divided by 6, which is it fits 3 times. So then we have a remainder of 4. So 48 divided by 6 is 8, and then 6 divided by 6 is 1. So the answer is 381.
So hopefully you could still see that twisted to the side there. My apologies. And here we have a slightly larger number, so we need to use a different strategy for this.
How to do long division. First we're going to do bust up method, 8,051 divided by 83. I know 83 doesn't go into 8 or 80, so carry it over. But it goes into 805. So first you want to do 83 times 10, which would be 830. And that's too big, so let's do 83 times 9. 7, 2, and then 8 times 9 is 72, 74. So you can see it goes into 747, 9 times. And then you subtract them. So you do, it doesn't go into 5, so you go to 8, and it goes into 7. And then 15 minus 7 is 8. And then 90 minus 4 is 9 minus 4 is 5. And then 7 minus 7 is 0. And then you bring down the 1. 581. And 83, let's say 83 times 5. So 15, and then 40, 101. So we can see that it can go in 2 more times, so let's try 83 times 7. 1, 2, and then 8 times 7 is 56, 581. So there, 97.
So we would often encourage the children to write down the times tables down the side, 83 times tables, for example. In this case, the child has found a more efficient way. Rather than spending time calculating every single times table, they can see patterns in that. So for example, 805 is close to 83 times 10, 830. And then they tried out using trial and error. For example, they times it by 5 and they realized it would fit in at least 2 more times, so they times it by 7. So you can use different strategies when it gets to these more complicated numbers. In the lesson, children are also answering reasoning questions and problem solving. In reasoning, they are expected to use mathematical terminology to explain their answer. So they may say, how was the example wrong, or how did they get the answer, and to reason using their knowledge. And in problem solving, it could be a wide range of problems and may have multiple solutions. So they have to test out different things and see what they can find. How can you help your child at home? So practice the times tables. It's really important. Sing songs and play games to get them engaged. You could support with homework. If they're struggling with that, also speak to the class teacher, but homework can be on Google Classroom, Study Ladder, or however the teacher provides that homework. Play active maths games and ask about any targets or particular support that is needed. Encourage them to play on Times Table Rockstars and get involved with maths. And there's an example of the song there. So thank you for watching.